back again for another exciting season for Pro Premium Racing tonight at Daytona. I'm waiting on a special guest with me here. Hopefully he'll get the invite to join me. Right now, we are going. Actually, we got to do something right quick. Now, tonight, 50 laps, 13 laps on of fuel times 3. So, let's wait on my guest. Hopefully, he's got the invite to join. If he can, I can hear him, I'll be alright. Something is not going how I need. Something is not going. Alrighty. Well, if that's the case. Uh, Alright. Now, I don't know if he can hear me or if I can hear him. I don't know. I'm having technical difficulties right now, so I'm gonna have to start this over.
Josh, it's Silver Thunder. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you a copy. Welcome, guys, to Pro Premium Racing League broadcast. I got the guy that's going to be calling the race tonight with me right now. Uh, Nathan, introduce yourself to the guys we that's will be watching tonight. Introduce yourself right quick.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on, man. In the booth, I'm Silver Thunder from Ohio. Looking forward to a good season, man. Got involved with Pro Premium Online Racing, Premium Racing Online rather, a couple weeks ago, and was asked to come in and help commentate, help bring the viewers at home a better broadcast. The guys here do a great job, and the racing's awesome. Some really tough competitors, and I'm just looking forward to calling some awesome races this season.
All right, we go into the Daytona tonight. It's 50 laps times 3, only 13 laps in a tank of fuel. What do you think? What do you think as a racer? Since I've raced with you these last couple of nights, what do you think is going to be the game plan for these racers tonight?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how important fuel conservation is going to be. I don't want to say. I don't want to say it's secondary to track position, but fuel could play an interesting part in tonight's race. The biggest thing is just going to see how some of these less experienced drivers can mesh on the track with some of these more experienced drivers. Because obviously at a place like Daytona, you've got to know how to run. You can't win the race on the first lap. You've got to be able to stick in the draft, stick on somebody's bumper, and be able to hold a line in order to not get left in the dust. And I think you're going to see a couple of trucks, within the first lap or two, find themselves in a really tough spot. If they can't hold the line. The saying goes, you cannot win a race on the first lap, but you definitely can lose Daytona on the first lap. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be pretty interesting because 13 laps to a tank of fuel and running 100 laps tonight. I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting. We'll see. That's a lot of pit stops.
Oh yeah, it is. And I mean, shoot, I've looked at the starting grid tonight, and I mean we got some good talented drivers, like you said. We got some experienced drivers. I know I've raced with Bobby. This is my second season with Bobby, and actually being a veteran and knowing how to race Daytona is actually going to be a big factor to these veterans. Okay, can we trust some of these rookies right here, or are they going to be the ones that's going to either help us or break us in the long run? Because like you said, Daytona is a win-win situation, and here we got Pro Dog Army, Jake, Pro Army Dog. Thanks for joining with us again. But now, uh, I've seen the 33 truck. He's a new guy this season, Steven, and with I've raced with Pro Dog. I've raced everybody besides some of these newer guys, and that he was asking about the double yellow line. Now, if you're as a fan point, if you was someone that's new and trying to explain to that, you're basically possibly going to get forced down the yellow line accidentally, because I've done this last night a couple of times. But from your point of view in the booth, how are you going to explain to everybody how this works to them if they're not familiar with the league racing?
Yeah, so the double yellow is a unique thing to your restrictor plate track. So you've got Daytona, you've got Talladega. There's a couple other tracks that have some line rules, but for the sake of argument, for this double yellow line rule, that's really where it's limited to. It's a rule that was put in place by NASCAR and carries over into the esports, and it initially was a safety thing. It's a line along the inside of the track, separating the banking from the apron through the corners, but it also is on both the tri-oval and the backstretch as well. And what this line does is it allows for there to be paved track below that line, but it is not eligible for what they call making a race move, meaning if you're forced down there by another driver, or you go below the yellow line to avoid an accident, something like that, it's eligible. If you drop below that line, intentionally, and especially if you drop below that line to advance your track position, that's going to result in a black flag penalty. Race control is going to be looking out for it. A lot of these guys are experienced and not going to have trouble with it, but there's going to be a couple of guys, that I think are less experienced that I don't think they're going to necessarily have trouble with the rule, but I think they might forget about it a time or two and get a little finicky and going into 1 and 2 and drop below that line. It's really easy to do when you're about half back of the pack and you've caught a draft to try to catch up with some of those top front cars, and there's a lot of pavement down there and it looks very enticing, but the rule says no, sir. So don't drop down there and pass them.
Now, speeding penalties are going to be an issue tonight with pit road speed being 55. Do you see that going to be an issue tonight with the pit road being 55, especially coming off of 3 and 4? You got to get your truck ready to. You got to try to slow down as quick as you can, but also don't make a mistake getting on the pit road. Do you think we're going to see any speeding penalties tonight?
I think that we probably would about have to. I think that we're going to see, especially because you've got to think 13 laps and a tank of fuel, 100 laps. We're talking 7, 8 tanks of fuel, depending on caution laps. You've got to come down to pit road 6, 7 times. We're going to have 3 or 4 green flag cycles of stops. I highly doubt we have 10 cautions and everybody gets to do that. But that being said, just the sheer number of pit stops and the sheer number of drivers we got in this race, I mean, we're up to 27 guys registered and ready to rock and roll tonight. We're going to have somebody that's going to exceed that pit road speed limit. But the thing about it is where I think we'll be okay, though, and I don't think you'll see it as much as what you might see, say, on the Cup circuit, right, in real life. Here with the esports, we've got the benefit of an actual speedometer, right? So we've got real-time feedback of our miles per hour situation, so you can really thread that needle and get it to 55, 54, 53 pretty easily, whereas a lot of these Cup guys and the national circuit here in the NASCARs, they don't have speedometers in there. They've got to gauge it based on what gear and RPMs they're running, and that's why you'll see on the real races they'll do a pit road sweep during the warm-up laps. That's why they do that. We don't need to do that tonight. We've got speedometers on the cars, and I think people will be using them, so I think we'll be okay. But I do anticipate 2 to 3 black flags for speeding on pit road there.
Yeah, well, qualifying is going to be to me, qualifying is not going. You think qualifying is going to be an issue, or you think qualifying don't really determine anything? Because since we are at Daytona, qualifying is out the door at Daytona. Because you can either, as I've seen Dale Earnhardt Jr., Michael Walter, Senior, they came from the back to the front within 5 laps. You think some of your top contenders will probably fall to the back during qualifying? And
it's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, I think kind of what you're alluding to is the fact that you can win the race from any starting position in the grid. It's kind of like in the Royal Rumble, right? WWE Royal Rumble. You can win from any starting position. It doesn't really matter, but depending on where you start, you do have to play your cards right. So I think you'll see some people whose strategy is to try to qualify well, qualify towards the front of the pack and stay there. I think you'll see some other guys who are interested in just kind of letting somebody else fight it out initially, and they're content to fall back in the pack, and after a while, you'll see them start to use that draft to make moves, earn some track position, and and really the other thing about it too is if you fall back and you start towards the back, you're really in a position to play pit strategy really well. Also, because when you're out front, you really only have one strategy, and that's in and out as quick as possible and maintain your track position. So you may not have the luxury, say, of taking 4 tires when you want to because it's going to cost you that track position that you've already picked up. Whereas if you're in the back, right, the yellow flag comes out and say you're running in, 28th place of 30 trucks. Well, hell yeah, you're coming down pit road and you're taking 4 tires because what are you going to lose? At the most, you're going to lose 2 spots. So it depends too on how people want to play that early pit strategy. And the third thing when it comes to this strategy of where you're starting, we saw it in the real truck race 2 weeks ago, right? So you got Kyle Busch running that race. He's not running for points or championships, so he's not interested in stage wins and points and all that. So his pit strategy really changed because it was all about track position because he only cared about one thing, and that was that checkered flag. So I think it's going to be interesting to see who prioritizes stage points and who prioritizes track position late in the race. I mean, I think you're going to have some guys who maybe are a little bit longer of a shot to take the checkered flag that you might see have a harder push up front. Some of these guys, who are newer to the league, maybe and a little bit less experienced, may not necessarily be able to think that deeply with the strategy. But I think some of your experienced guys who don't feel as if they necessarily have to win at Daytona in order to set their season up, they might go for stage and playoff points. It's hard telling, but I do think we're going to see some of that.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, all right. I want to use me for an example. Daytona. I got the Ford truck. I'm in the Ford Toyota, and I feel confident. I feel confident going in tonight because I'm always good at restricted plates. It's about can you avoid the big one? Are you confident that you're far enough from that pack that you see it's aggressive and you can see it in your mirror that okay, I'm up front. Am I safe enough? Or do I need to get up here with the top five to secure myself away from that angry pack because it's getting dicey back here. So as a racer, I know where I know where I'm going to be at. I want to stay between 15th and above, or in case there's a big hornet's nest fixing to happen, I'm safe up there. I don't have to really having to bite my nails like some of these newer guys coming in, having to fight with the veterans because these veterans are going to put these new guys in their place if they're not careful because we got Brandon, uh, pro Army dog, Jaguar, and we got and Humpy, Michael. We're the veterans. We know how to strategize for this race right here because we've raced with each other so long. As a rookie, they're playing. I believe they're in their own mindset. Okay, well I got 13 laps. I got to try to get up to so and so position, and then if I get up here, I'm going to try to stay right here. But you've already burned maybe 6 laps of fuel just to get up where you're at, but you're fixing to have to pit. You're going to be off strategy with the leaders. You see that coming into play right there?
I think it's going to. I think the lack of experience is gonna show in some of the strategy that we see. But the other thing too is when it comes to race strategy, because there are many different ways to become exposed to this sport and the strategy around it. You might be surprised. There might be some rookies who are familiar enough with the concept of pit strategy that they might do okay. Myself as a racer, I'm not the most experienced. I would definitely fall in the back half of the pack when it comes to experience level with this crew here. That being said, I'm definitely familiar enough with the sport to where I'd be probably closer to the front when it comes to successful and quality pit strategy. So, not to say that that's really where some of these rookies stand. I can't speak for anybody but myself, but I do know that the exposure that you can get to this sport can happen in more than one way. So I don't think we would be giving everybody due credit if we just assumed, well, they've never ran in pro premium racing online before, so they're probably not going to have enough of an idea for pit strategy. But you never know. I mean, there might be some surprises
Yeah.
come through. And the other thing too, and this is the thing about Daytona especially, at the end of the day, this is a track that's pretty straightforward. A lot of people have a lot of chance to win regardless of track position. So I do think we're going to see some aggressive pit strategy. I think we're going to see some aggressive driving throughout the race. I think it'll be interesting to see who pushes hard at first and who sets back a little bit. But the aggressive pit strategy from some of these rookies is going to be something to watch.
All right. I know you're going to be up in the booth. I know you probably can't tell me anything, but on your driver, if you had to pick a driver and a manufacturer win tonight, your pick for tonight and your underdog and your manufacturer, who do you see as your? I want to ask you your underdog pick first. Your underdog, who do you think has that chance to win as an underdog? Who do you have seen on the list so far that especially the underdog list? What driver have you seen if you had to choose an underdog to win tonight in tonight's race?
Yeah, so in fairness to the drivers in the field, I won't single it out to just one, but I'll give you a couple of names for both categories here, and we'll see what happens. As far as underdogs, I mean, obviously, we've got a lot of newbies here. We've got a lot of people, so that's a really tough one to pick. I mean, I think I do anticipate seeing Some interesting names up there. I think that the 74 truck could end up being up there. That's the E4 Racing team, and that's a Chevrolet Silverado. I think that you can see them up there. I think the two other drivers that I'm really looking to see what they can do tonight are the three truck and the 26 truck. Now I know the 26 truck is not brand new. That's bariatric in the 26 Chevrolet, the white and orange truck.
Oh yeah,
He's not brand new. He's not brand new, but he's not necessarily the first name you think of when you're saying pick a winner gun to your head. But I think he's going to race really well tonight. I look for him to be in the mix all the way to the end.
I hate to ask you, what about the Jaguar? What about the Ford truck? I hate to ask you, where do you see me fishing at? What do you? I mean, I hate to put you under the spot right here, but do you see the Ford truck being in the top 10, top 5, fighting for that contention tonight, or?
I
or
think that I think that the team in the Ford truck is definitely capable of it. I think the driver's capable, and the experience is certainly there. I wouldn't necessarily call that an underdog. I would say that the Ford truck has got every potential to be there at the end. It's going to come down for a lot, like for a lot of these guys. It's going to come down to pit strategy. You know, when do you hold them? When do you fold them? You know, are we smoking laps off the truck really early to get to the front of the pack? Or are we sitting back? I mean, I can tell you that I think the Ford truck's going to benefit from holding back and pushing hard at the end. I think that's a strategy that's worked in the past for that team. That's what I anticipate seeing tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like you brought up the Gambler. That's a favorite. That's a good country song right there. That's a Kenny Rogers song right there. And I hate to say it, but I am the Ford truck, and I mean, I've shown actually got all my kinks out. So I mean, I'm looking forward to being with the. I love my Toyota team, and I hate. And this is probably the biggest. This is probably gonna be the best season for the Ford team. But since I'm a racer, I'm gonna. For me as an underdog, I got to go with Barry too, since I'm gonna be racing against him tonight. Barry, I practiced with him especially last night. Me and him had a good run with Pro Army Dog, and, and so yeah, we got a good group of guys. I think Army. I think Barry, if he can, he said he's gonna miss qualifying tonight, but he'll start in the back. So
I don't think that's going to hurt him, honestly.
no, he's got a fast truck, and that being in a Chevrolet, and I think, truth be honest with you, I think if I'm having to be behind someone, it's gonna be Brandon in the '88 F-150 tonight for Thor Racing. I think Brandon is gonna, since Brandon won the championship in Heat 4, he's got that momentum going into Daytona. Since he is in the since he is the defending champion, I think he goes into Daytona tonight, wins the race, and I know I wish it could be a Toyota, but the Toyota camps are strong. The Chevy camp looks stronger in this season right here. The Ford, they got some good drivers, but they're lacking in speed from what I've seen these last couple of nights. They're lacking in speed with all these other racers right here. I think that's what's going to hold some of these Ford drivers being. That said and done, you probably have Brandon to win. If it's not Brandon, it's probably going to be the Chevy camp or the Toyota camp that's going to prevail to win this race tonight.
So I definitely think we'd be remiss if we didn't include Patton and Brandon in the '88 up there. I think he's got as good a shot as any. I think coming off of a series championship a couple weeks ago, I definitely think he's got a good shot. Don't count him out.
Oh no.
But I'm going to tell you, I think that if he thinks it's his race to lose, I think he might be in for a surprise. I think you're going to have there's two drivers in particular that I want to point out that I have been impressed with, that I think are going to be able to really bring something to the table, and that's the 38. That's Loho in the 38. Now he's a Ford, so there's another driver, a strong driver out of your Ford camp for you there, Jaguar. But the driver that I look, and if I had to pick one, just one, to win, I'm looking at the O2 truck. That's Georgia Renegade, the white and blue solid rock carrier Chevrolet. That's my truck that I think is going to really prevail tonight. Outside of obviously, we never know what's going to happen with the big wrecks and with the DNFs this year in this game and things like that. It's hard to really predict it, but if I had to, um, and no offense to any of these other incredible drivers, because we've got so many that I could pick 5 drivers to win, and every one of them finished in the back half of the pack. That's how good of a field we've got this year. But I think that O2 is the truck to watch tonight.
Well, I mean, looking at the schedule, we got Atlanta next weekend. Atlanta's the track that everybody's real crescent about because it loves to eat tires. So now, I know since we're racing at Daytona, but looking at the schedule, just a big thing. If you've seen the schedule, what tracks are you looking forward to calling the races this year? What tracks stand out to you right now that you think is going to be exciting this season coming up?
I'm really excited to see. Obviously, I think Atlanta next week is going to be a great addition to the schedule. I think I'm pretty excited tonight for Daytona. I'm a big restrictor plate guy. I really like the restrictor plates. So I'm interested to see how this one turns out. But Atlanta's going to be good. I'm also looking forward to see how we do on the road courses. I know Junior, Bobby Junior typically starts running away with things on the road courses, but obviously with him joining me in the booth all season, I don't imagine he's going to be running too many of those races. So that really opens it up for somebody else to kind of reach out and nab that title of being king of the road course. So I look forward to some of these road courses. Obviously, Watkins Glen's always a good race. Sonoma's always a good race. It'll be interesting to see. I actually don't have the full schedule in front of me. Are we running this year for the truck cars? Are we running anything besides Sonoma and Watkins Glen, road course wise?
All right, the road course. I got the schedule right here. The road courses are going to be the Roval and the Glen, and I believe there's another. I got to check. I'm going through the phone my schedule right now.
So we ran Sonoma last year, and Brad in the 46 truck won Sonoma last year. So that you can already tell when Junior's not in the field, it opens it wide up for somebody else.
All right, we got the Roval. That's our first road course, and we go to the Glen. We only got 2 road courses this year. I'm surprised we didn't go to the Canadian Tires like we did this past season. But we got the Roval, our first road course after Dover. Actually, I'm actually looking forward to Dover because that's one of my favorite tracks right there is Dover. But the race that I'm really excited about, I think everybody's excited to go Eldora. I don't know why, but it's a good dirt track. It's a different track from what everybody says in the truck series. They love going to Eldora because it's a back home southern thing. You go to your local dirt tracks, you're gonna have fun racing dirt because them trucks do get hard to handle going through on that dirt on that racetrack. And I'm a big fan of Eldora, and I look forward to going to that track because I love that track. I actually this past season somehow I managed to race my way in, so I was like, oh heck yeah, this track is so unique, but it's also fun. It reminds me of Bristol, but Bristol's not on dirt, so Eldora is like, dang, you're getting on the wheel and you're like, shoot, back end's fishtailing, but it's common for that type of stuff to see it. So yeah, that's gonna be one of my favorite. I dread the Roval. I'm not a big fan about the Roval. The Glen, I love the Glen. I've raced on it so many times. I've loved it as a driver, and I also love watching the Glen because you got Boris said that races the Glen when he wants to. You got Patrick Compiante. Some of the road course ringers like AJ Allmendinger that will probably be racing some of these road courses, especially the Roval in the Cup Series coming up here in the next couple of months if we can get through this pandemic and every darn thing. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now is looking forward to going to the Roval just to see if I can get more practice on it. But I'm looking towards Atlanta and Darlington because they're my 2 home tracks down here in the South. So I'm I live in South Carolina, so Atlanta and Darlington are my two favorite tracks to go to as a as a mental person, and to race it online with all these guys.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can tell you that, yeah, it's going to be interesting. The only two road courses we've got this season are Washington and the Roval. I can tell you that the Roval's interesting because it is a road course, but it um, runs a little faster than a lot of the other road courses. But I think it's a good opportunity with Junior not being in there to let somebody else come in there and take the trophy, become king of the road course when it comes to the trucks. But I'm going to talk to you about Eldora for a minute because here's something that's unique to these trucks here, this series. You don't do it in the Busch cars, you don't do it in the Cup cars, but racing these trucks on dirt is something different. You know, something different. And I really wish if they would do it. I really wish they would let you, because I don't know how many people are aware, but on this game, if you run the modifieds on the dirt, they actually have a version of Bristol where Bristol's covered in dirt and they run that. And I know that they've done that in the past in real life too. But I really wish they'd open that up and let you run the dirt trucks on there, because I tell you right now, that'd be the most fun race to drive in, to call, anything, you name it. You name it, that'd be one hell of a time.
Yeah, it
And
would.
and I can tell you this much. Eldora is going to be something special because Eldora is a race anybody can win. It don't matter who's the fastest truck. It don't matter who's the best driver. That is so off the wall. It's anything can go wrong at any second. It's anybody's race, and getting 30 trucks out there on that little 3/8 of a mile track is really something special and something that's fun. So I'm looking forward to Eldora, but we're a couple weeks away, and we got to get Daytona under our belts tonight. So let's see
Exactly.
what we can do.
Well, Nathan, thanks for joining me tonight, and I look forward to hearing you broadcast on in the booth tonight, because I'll have it up on my phone too, because I got my earbuds. I will listen to the broadcast while I'm racing, talking to these guys tonight. But I want to say a big shout out to Ricky Bobby, Pro Premium Racing. Thanks for actually allowing us to do this broadcast every single Sunday. Thanks for letting me doing this every Sunday, because I do enjoy doing this broadcast for the post race broadcast for the race. Uh, if y'all know who we are, please go down to our link, see how we are. I'm Joshua Lee Jaguar. This is Nate. We'll see you next Sunday.
See you guys. Thanks for having us.
Hey Josh, how you doing, bud? This is Zombie.
How you doing, Humphrey? Hold on, I got to go.